I'm not sure whether I should record this particular moment in this particular place. The world is waking up and there is some gentle breeze that may disturb the microphone. I hope that it doesn't lead to that grating sound that can be hard to listen to. It's a bit later in the day than I would normally record something. I've been busy. But I'm taking a moment in my hammock in the sun, baring my skin to this delicious morning radiance. Warming myself and reflecting on the power of an empty stomach. When I fast, and when I first started fasting this year, I've fasted for years, but when I began to fast this year after passing through a dark night of the soul and a very difficult time, it brought me such rejuvenation and exhilaration after passing through the first moments of detoxing, and the first day is always the hardest, and the second day is also sometimes a bit tricky, but as the time goes on it just gets easier and easier, and once you start getting into 5 and 6 days, the sense of exhilaration really grows. And it's funny because the summer I've been fasting a day a week, but that's quite tricky at times because that one day of fasting is always the hardest. It's where one experiences the coffee come downs, the sugar demands of the gut screaming out not for their food, but what they've been habituated to. It's when we experience the pangs and the cravings, and it's not an easy time. It's funny how fasting gets easier the longer it goes on. Well, at least that's my experience of it so far. My longest fast to date is 23 days. I know it's possible to go much deeper and much further. But it's funny, I just am seeing, not just from my own experience, but also in the transformations that are going on for other people that are practicing this. It's incredible. Just having an empty stomach and what that does for us human beings. The vitality it can unleash, the healing, the presence, the power, a spiritual power that arises from asserting our spiritual dominion over the corporeal vehicle that is our body. And it's funny, I don't like how I said that, this idea of dominion over the body. It's really surrendering to the power of the body. Yeah, that's much more it. surrendering to the exquisite beauty of nature and the fact that our bodies know how to heal. They know how to look after themselves if we treat them correctly. And momentary breaks in the endless gorging of ourselves that we do these days as civilized creatures, supposedly civilized. Just giving ourselves and our mouths and our stomachs a break unleashes so much healing power as the process of autophagy begins and our cells consume all the detritus and get rid of all of the toxins that they've been trying to deal with. Immense forces of rejuvenation are unleashed. There's a very interesting Christian mystic scholar called Teilhard de Chardin, who is ridiculed by some for being woo-woo, but he certainly had some very strong ideas, and he talked about the entelechy of living organisms. The entelechy is it's like an internal blueprint, a vision for what the healthy expression of that life form would look like. It's maybe not dissimilar to some of the ideas of Rupert Sheldrake and of morphic resonance, that there are these frequencies being emitted around which matter forms, also supported by the ideas of cymatics. And oh my word, I've seen some incredible things with cymatics recently. Cymatics is the science of watching sound and its effects upon matter, commonly water, and how particular frequencies create these particular forms. And I saw an amazing thing the other day of people overlaying different frequencies, images of different frequencies, or images of cymatic patterns that were overlaid upon each other and then formed faces out of the blending of those different cymatic images. It's just incredible. We live in amazing times where we're able to witness the unfolding of and the revealing of knowledge, and it's incredible. Now, I diverged from the idea of Teilhard de Chardin and this entelechy that exists within all living things. This idea of morphic resonance, that there is this signal that is being emitted from somewhere of what human looks like, of what dog looks like, of what cat looks like. And our bodies can touch into that image of what our healthy selves, what this optimal expression of our individual being looks like. And all we need to do to reveal that is to go with an empty stomach for a period of time. On the seafront the other day, I met this young man who was basking in the sunshine at 7 o'clock in the morning with his bare feet on the ground. I kind of recognised him immediately as a kindred spirit. And I spoke to him and asked him about how he came to be there and who he had been inspired by. He mentioned a chap, Dr. Jack Cruz, that I'd never heard of. But there's a lot of people out there at the moment preaching this particular gospel because it's such a revelation to realise that there are such simple things that can lead us to optimal health. Having an empty stomach for a period, eating natural foods that don't have ingredients, eating the right things that are in harmony with ancient practices, the ways that our bodies have developed over thousands of years, getting our bare feet on the ground, sun on the skin, fresh air, the best water that we can find, singing, chanting, dancing, all those things that cost nothing but are just transformative for our health and our sense of well-being. And I was talking to this man and asking him and how he came to be where he was, and he mentioned this guy, and he talked about the incredible transformation that had gone on in his life in just about 8 months, he said. He recounted that some of his friends had seen him as almost unrecognisable from the man that they knew less than a year ago. And he looked like such a fine expression of humanity. And it was interesting to hear the things that he recounted as evidence of the transformation. It wasn't so much about his body. He talked about his sense of self and lack of self-consciousness and his ease in communication with other people, his ability to enter into conversation with anyone, with women, which I suspect was possibly somewhere where he hadn't always felt most at ease. It really is incredible. And I've spent some time in recent weeks feeling not really aligned with my highest self, the best expression of who I can be. I've been alright, but I haven't been fully in myself, fully giving what I can, living what I can, fully celebrating the moment, really taking advantage of what it is to be alive. And so I knew it was time for me to fast, and I fasted for 2 days and most of the third day, and I must admit that the demons got me. When it's time to fast, there is an inner dialogue that needs to be championed at times. And it can be really helpful to make a commitment to how long one is going to fast, because I must admit I have found myself in recent times prevaricating, finding myself going, oh, is it time to eat? Is it not time to eat? And the first few days of fasting, and fasting generally requires rest. It requires time to really listen to the body and not put it under too much stress. One day fasting you can carry on with your normal routines, but when you get into day 2 and 3 and longer, you need time to rest, to not put the body under such stress. And it's easy to, when out in the world and in sight of food and distraction, it's very easy to fall prey to temptation. And yesterday I was feeling weak as I was out in town and felt called to drink something, and later on in the evening I ended up having some food again, and I ate well, I ate good food, and yet I ate it somewhat guiltily, feeling that I could have gone deeper into that fast. And then it's so funny because this morning I just woke up feeling rejuvenated. Just 2.5 days was all I actually remained nil by mouth. I thought I might have done 5 or 6 days. And now I'm wondering if I'll dip in again. But when I woke up this morning, I felt the force of my strength again, and felt called to get up and get out, and found myself running towards the sun, marching along the beach barefoot on the rocks, stomping for miles, heading up to the place where I could do some chin-ups and then running barefoot along the beach back again, swimming in the sea. Really celebrating what it is to have a functioning body. You know, I'm 50 years old and I'm probably in the best shape I've ever been. Maybe it takes a while at times for us to come to appreciate what an incredible vehicle it is, the human body, and how much care it takes. And it doesn't actually take that much care, but it does take the right inputs. It does take some time to clean out the temple, to sweep the steps and light some candles. And going with an empty stomach is such an incredible way of lighting a candle. It's funny because so many of my friends and family I know would benefit enormously from a moment with an empty stomach. It would ease the weight they're carrying, literally. It's so easy to see when people are carrying too much weight. You can see the burden that it applies to one's frame. When I see people running who are, obviously trying to kickstart a healthy life for themselves, and yet they're carrying too much weight for that form of exercise. I had to be very careful. I've always been very careful, knowing that when the transformation I've been through at different points in my life, when I have let it all go and accumulated far too much weight with the stress of life. I understand how people get to that state. It happens. It's happened to me. When we just carry too much and where the demands of life don't allow us to take care of ourselves as we can. And so I know that when I've come back from those times, I've had to learn, this year, I had to learn to exercise gently, to enjoy the process. I've never pushed myself until I felt like my body was able to really take it. Started walking, then a bit of cycling, a little bit of gentle jogging, but a process that took months, supported by yoga, supported by swimming. When I did my first chin-up this year, I was able to do 1. And then after some time it was 2. And then after some time it was 3. And I got myself up to 13 chin-ups. Good, full chin-ups all the way down and all the way up, before I damaged my shoulder from 2 hammock injuries and I've had to rest again, and it was only today that I did my first chin up again, and I managed 4. But I don't chastise myself about the number of chin-ups I do or how far I run. I never take a timer. I never set a distance. The only times I've set a distance were when I went to join in the park run. And each time I've done that, well, it's only been a couple, I've injured myself from that mental insistence that I must run a particular distance, that I must go a particular distance. Coming out of the body and into the mind, insisting that my body should subject itself to a certain amount of exercise, a certain form of exercise, and then hurting my feet and hurting my ankles and hurting my knees. I'm so grateful for the fact that I've listened to my intuition and allowed my desire to exercise to flourish naturally out of an empty stomach. To have listened to my body and emptied myself, and then to build myself back up again, lovingly, playfully, enjoying the process, dumping that load, dropping that weight, and slowly coming back into coherence with what my body needs, harmonizing with the elements around me, with nature, with the sun, with my breath, with my voice. There's so much healing to be had from just feeling the emptiness of our stomach for a while. And as I said, I've got so many people that I encounter that I would just love to preach to and share. I just want to go, just fast for a day, come on, you just feel so much better. Oh my God, I just want to scream it from the rooftops. And yeah, I don't want to be bashing people over the head with some prescription that they must follow. It's not like that. It's just an invitation. And yet I know that for so many people it's just unbearable to think passing a whole day without eating some food. Got to keep the motor running. It's such a profound fear of emptiness. I wouldn't be surprised if it's connected with a fear of death, that somehow not eating means death, and I bet it's connected to childhood and mothering. You know, mothers are so insistent on food. You know, you've got to get your dinner down. I've done it myself with my own children. Come on, you've got to eat. You've got to finish your plate. You've got to... And it's like, do you really? I'm watching my youngest girl at the moment, and she is like a stick insect. There's nothing to her, but she is like raw muscle. She's so agile. At the moment she's discovering the joy of cartwheels and trying to break into handstands and chin-ups and monkey bars. She is so strong, so strong. She goes up and down monkey bars in a way that I have never been able to. And yet when it comes to meal times, sometimes it seems like she only needs the flavour of the food. You know, it's difficult at times to let her get down from the table having eaten so little, and yet it's really clear that she is not short of nourishment or vitality in any way, shape or form. She's like this radiant, bristling emanation of life force that is something to behold. It's amazing, it's beautiful. So I really am trying to relax on the whole come on, eat your dinner up business, because I think children know. And it's been incredible, the occasions where I've witnessed my children go, I don't want to eat my dinner. And the times that my partners and I have tried to insist that they eat their food, and then it's resulted in vomiting, because they knew they were ill. They knew that they didn't need any food, and we were like, no, you've got to get your dinner down, you. We live and learn. The body knows, children know, animals know. And it's understandable that mothers want to get our food down us. And it's funny because an empty stomach, it's seen as such a punishment. My mother has declined into dementia over recent years. And there was a time when I was really trying to persuade my family to let me live with her, to help her find her way back to health, to care for her with good food and with fasting. And my sister said, I'm not going to let you starve our mother to death. Just goes to show. And instead she's in a care home where they're constantly going, come on, get your dinner down, you. Even in moments when it's clear there's no desire to eat, total disinterest in food whatsoever. Her body's trying to say, I've had enough, I'm ready to go, please let me slip away. But the tyranny of caring through the form of feeding. No, you've got to get your dinner. Oh, come on, Dora, you got your dinner. Come on, Dora, eat your dinner up. Oh my God, it's just unbearable. I can't bear to go to the care home and see them forcing rotten, cheap food down my mother's throat. It's just unbearable. I really, really struggle with it. Just give her the dignity and the freedom to have an empty stomach. Surely that's what caring looks like, allowing someone to feel into their body and find its expression, allowing someone to die when they've had enough, when everything in their system is saying, I just don't want to eat anymore. Just give me the freedom to have an empty stomach so I can slip away from this reality into whatever comes next. The wisdom of the body and the power of an empty stomach to heal us, to rejuvenate us, and to let us slip away from this world. You know, I have regained so much strength and sense of being in my life with the knowledge that when I find myself in front of my death, then I will fast. When death comes towards me, I will go towards it with open arms. And that process of fasting will either breathe new life into my bones and bring another moment of rejuvenation, or it will assist me to gently slip away from this life. The power of an empty stomach. It breeds appetite eventually, although I've never had to break a fast because I was actually hungry. I've seen many other people report the same thing. It's not hunger that drives one to start again. I posted something on Facebook a while ago and it had no response whatsoever. I said, food makes you hungry. Nobody got it. It's true though. The more we eat, the more we want. And that's, again, the power of an empty stomach, because it allows for something new to arrive, to install itself within us. And this morning I'm back to that full sense of wow, and so grateful that I went through the last couple of days. Still somewhat wishing I'd gone further, still considering whether I might dive back in. But knowing for the things that I need to do, I also need some strength, and feeling that wave, that burst of joy this morning, and feeling that sense of wow, that sense of what it is to be alive, fully back in the wow moment. Just a couple of days of an empty stomach. I'm not sure if anyone will ever have the time or the attention to listen to this, but if you have shared this wow moment with me and had the patience to listen to me waxing lyrical about the power of an empty stomach, I bid you good day. I wish you a good life. And I'm going to be quiet now and share this moment of wow with you. Love be with you.